Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are starting a very important chapter in Indian history, that is from trade to territory and how East India Company became a ruling power. Now imagine a small foreign trading company becoming the ruler of a huge country like India. Strange, right? How can a few traders defeat powerful Indian kings and control such a large land? Today's journey will explain exactly how that happened. So let's begin. Around the early 18th century, India was still under the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb was the last strong Mughal ruler who controlled a massive territory. But after his death in 1707, everything started breaking apart. Powerful governors and big zamindars began acting independently, and everyone wanted to become their own king. And Delhi was no longer strong enough to control the whole country. So slowly, regional power started rising, such as Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad, Mysore, Marathas, and Punjab. And in this moment of weakness, a new player entered the political scene, that is the British. The British originally came only for trade, not to rule. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth I gave the East India Company exclusive rights to trade with the East. That means no other English company could compete with them. Their aim was simple: buy goods cheaply in India and sell them for high prices in Europe. But soon they realized they were not alone. The Portuguese, Dutch, and French traders were already here and everyone wanted the same goods. So competition increased and prices increased and profit decreased. And slowly trading companies began fighting like armies. The trade was no longer peaceful. The ships were attacked and sea routes were blocked and forts were built. To protect their business, companies started keeping soldiers. And this is where business slowly turned into politics and warfare. Now, the British built their first trading post in Bengal near the Hooghly River in 1651. As their business grew, they built a fort and a small town around it. And later this area became Calcutta, today's Kolkata. And they also received permission from the Mughal Empire, Aurangzeb, to trade without paying taxes. This was a huge privilege, but company officials began abusing this power. They refused to pay duties even on private trade. So Bengal lost a lot of revenue. The Nawabs of Bengal naturally became angry. After Aurangzeb, Bengal had strong rulers like Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan, and later Siraj ud-Dawla. They did not trust the company and strongly opposed its growing power. The Nawabs said, "You are misusing privileges, not paying taxes and building forts and insulting our authority." The company said, "You are demanding too much money and blocking our trade. We need freedom to expand." So trade turned into tension and tension turned into conflicts, and so finally battle was inevitable. Now the Battle of Plassey. When Siraj ud-Dawla became Nawab in 1756, the company tried to replace him with the puppet ruler. Siraj was furious. He attacked the British factory at Kasim Bazar and captured Calcutta. The company immediately sent Robert Clive from Madras with the troops. Negotiations failed, and in 1757 the famous Battle of Plassey took place. Now listen carefully. The British victory was not due to strength but betrayal. Mir Jafar, one of the Siraj commanders, secretly made a deal with the British. During the battle, his army simply didn't fight. The Siraj ud-Dawla was defeated and later killed. Mir Jafar became Nawab and the company gained its first major military victory in India. This was a turning point. From here, everything changed. The company did not want to rule directly. It still wanted only trade. So they kept replacing Nawabs whenever they refused to obey. The Mir Jafar complained here. He was removed. In his place, Mir Qasim came and he also rebelled. Then Battle of Buxar happened in 1764. The company won and Mir Jafar returned, but he also died in 1765. Finally, the Mughal Empire made the company the Diwan of Bengal, meaning controller of revenue. Now the company had money. It no longer needed to bring gold from Britain. India revenue paid for British trade, British army, and British expansion. From traders, they started acting like Nawabs themselves. Next one. The British officials became extremely rich by taking gifts and bribes from Indian rurals. Robert Clive himself returned to England with a huge fortune, but later was investigated for corruption and committed suicide in 1774. Some officers lived luxurious lives and were mockingly called nabobs in Britain. The company wanted more and more control. They used political tricks instead of direct war. Like residents were placed in Indian courts to control local rurals. And also, like subsidiary aliens forced rurals to accept British troops and pay for them. If they failed, then that territory becomes the part of their land. If they failed, then it becomes the part of their land was taken. In that, Awadh and Hyderabad lost large territories in this way. And second one is subsidiary alliance. Means it is forced to rurals to accept the British troops and pay for them. If they fail to do, then the part of their land was taken. In that, Awadh and Hyderabad lost large territories in this way. Now, Mysore was powerful under Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. They controlled the important spice trade on the west coast. Tipu stopped British trade and developed strong relations with the French. British were threatened. 4 wars were fought between Mysore and Company. In the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, the Tipu died fighting bravely at Seringapatanam. Mysore was then forced into subsidiary alliance. The Tipu became a symbol of resistance against the imperialism. Next, the war with the Marathas. The company also fought 3 wars with the Marathas. By 1819, after the 3rd Anglo-Maratha War, the Maratha Empire was crushed and British now controlled most of India south of Vindhyas. Under the Lord Hastings, the company declared itself supreme, meaning more powerful than any Indian ruler. They would annex any state if it challenged British interest. The resistance occurred. For example, Rani Chennamma of Kittur and Rayanna fought bravely but were defeated. The next one is the doctrine of lapse. The final method came under Lord Dalhousie. If a king died without a male heir, his kingdom automatically became part of company land. Using this rule, they annexed Satara, Nagpur, Jhansi and finally Awadh in 1856. People were angry, and this anger later exploded in revolt of 1857. Now, setting up a new administration. The British reorganized administration, such as 3 presidencies, such as Bengal, Bombay, Madras, and also made the Governor General as supreme head. And Warren Hastings introduced a new judicial system, such as civil courts, criminal courts, and Supreme Court. And collectors become powerful administrators controlling revenue, law, and police. Under the Regulating Act of 1773, a new Supreme Court was established, while in the Court of Appeal, that is the Sadar Nizamat Adalat, was also set up at Kolkata. Next, the Company Army. The British modernized their army. Indian soldiers called sepoys and were trained in European style, but this ignored caste and religious sensitivities. This will lead to dissatisfaction, which later sparked the revolt of 1857. So, the East India Company came to India as a simple traders, but slowly through clever diplomacy, alliance, battles, and manipulation, they turned into rulers. By 1857, they ruled most of India, about 63% of territory and 78% of the population. From trade to territory, from businessmen to kings. This is one of the most dramatic transformations in the world history. So that's it for today's lecture. I hope you understood how trade became conquest and how the company became a ruling power in India. In the next class, we will look at the revolt of 1857, how Indians resisted British rule. In the next class, we will continue the next unit of class 8. Till then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel.